Hi, my name is Catherine, and I'm excited to start this new 6-week chair yoga series with you. The next 6 weeks, we will focus on building strength, stabilizing the body, and finding a nice stretch. Today's video, being the first in the series, will go through a lot of the basics. So if you are brand new to yoga, this may be helpful to walk through a couple times before the rest of the videos. Feel free to pause and repeat as much as you'd like if you need to rewatch or re-listen to any parts. As far as props, you don't really need anything except a sturdy chair. There's no need for a yoga mat unless you choose to take a lot of the class standing. That's also an option. You could do many of the same stretches and movements standing up in a mountain or upright position. So feel free to choose whichever you want. Make sure that the chair that you're using does not have wheels, so you're nice and sturdy. That will keep the body stabilized for sure. If you have yoga blocks similar to what I have here, you could have 2 yoga blocks or more available. They may be used to prop up your feet at certain points, depending on how high your chair is to the ground. That could be an option, definitely not necessary. You may even have some books at home, something of a similar height or sturdiness that will work for you. If you have some light weights that you'd like to use for the strength part of the class, you could use 1 pound dumbbells, 2 pounds, whatever weight feels good for you. I wouldn't go any higher than 5. Probably 1 or 2 is enough for most people. And if you don't have weights, you could try using some cans of soup or beans. That's usually close to 1 pound, depending on what it is. So you could have 2 soup cans or cans of beans available too if you want to add a little extra weight to your hands. So let's begin. We'll start with the breath and setting up the intention. You might soften your eyes or close your gaze. There's nothing that you need to see for these next few breaths or the next minute or two. As you soften your gaze, it allows you to turn inward, starting to scan your body from the soles of your feet, feeling and noticing where the feet touch the earth or touch the props underneath your feet. Scanning all the way up the legs to the hips and up the spine, noticing if you feel that you're leaning forward a lot, leaning backwards, swaying more to the left or the right. Just bringing awareness to where the body is right now with curiosity, non-judgmental awareness. Before taking any other big movements, you could keep the hands on the lap or legs if that's where they've landed, maybe even taking the hands to the heart or the abdomen. Let the hands rest wherever they're comfortable, and we'll start to take a few mindful breaths. Practicing breathing in and out through the nose if that's comfortable for you. You might have a small seal of the lips. And you may even start to notice the sound of your breath with each inhale and each exhale. Noticing the length of each inhale and exhale. And maybe starting to deepen each breath. As we find this moment of stillness and breath, you might choose to set an intention here. It might be a statement of gratitude, an affirmation, or a positive statement in the present tense of something that you would like to manifest more than anything else in this moment. Try to allow your intention to come to you naturally, without effort. And once the word or statement has come to your mind, you might repeat it 2 or 3 times in the present tense with absolute certainty. With the next inhale, we'll start to lower the hands down by the sides of the chair with the palms facing away. Start to reach the arms out to the side, maybe to a wide V, and then inhale, bring the hands in. We'll do that again. Inhale, either reach the arms out to the sides or maybe even up overhead. And exhale, lower the hands back down to the heart space, maybe starting to lower the chin towards the chest. Starting to find soft, gentle movement. Inhale, reach the hands up towards the sky. Exhale, sweep the hands down to the sides. Pause here. We'll start to roll out the neck, finding a little bit of stability around the neck and shoulders. You can start to bring the gaze over your right shoulder. As you look over the right shoulder, start to bring the gaze down and circle around so the chin comes towards the chest, keeping the back straight until the gaze comes all the way over the left shoulder. Maybe following this pattern a few more times, real slow and mindfully. Keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, the spine nice and straight. The next time the chin's at the chest, you can start to lift the head back up and roll the right ear over towards your right shoulder. As the ear comes towards the shoulder, notice if the whole body wants to also sway to the right. Try to resist that urge, keeping the shoulders in alignment and just allowing the right ear to come towards the shoulder. Pausing here, this may be enough, or maybe you place the right hand on top of the head, not to force a deeper stretch to the shoulder, but just to be there as a guide, to stabilize and start to feel a slight stretch down the left side of your neck. Might feel good to extend the arm out, allowing any tension to roll down the left neck, off the shoulder, off the fingertips. Maybe even circling the fingers a little bit here, circling the whole arm really slowly. It might feel nice to take that left hand behind your back or to the side of the chair, allowing the left shoulder to pull down even lower, and then moving the nose, the gaze, or the eyes down towards the right shoulder, the right upper chest, till you find a place that feels good along the left side of your neck. Again, noticing if the whole body is starting to tip over towards the right, the same as the ear. Try to resist that coming back up to a neutral seat, neutral spine. Once you're there, start to release both hands down to the side and gently bring the head back up to neutral. Maybe take a big lift of the shoulders and roll the shoulders back down and away. Pause here to just take that time to notice the difference between the left and the right side of the neck. Feeling into the movements with each side, knowing each day the left might feel a little different than the right. Now beginning to take the left ear down towards the left shoulder, or the opposite of whatever you did. Maybe the hand comes on top of the head, not pulling the head down lower, just guiding the ear towards the shoulder. Maybe you extend the right arm out and start to draw the little circles, feeling any tension release down the right side of the neck. Taking any of those same movements that you did on the other side, maybe bringing the hand to the side or to the low back, allowing the right shoulder to lower, even lower, extending the length of the neck, and then starting to turn the nose, the eyes, the chin, whatever feels comfortable here, towards the chest or shoulder. Knowing this side might have less mobility, less range of motion, more mobility, more stretch. Knowing it's all a practice of finding balance and ease. Start to gently release both hands back to the sides. Take the shoulders to lift and lower back down a couple more times, maybe lift and lower forward. And then we're going to pause in what we call mountain pose. The shoulders are resting down away from the ears. The spine is lifted nice and long. The sitting bones under your hips are really grounded to the chair. The feet are grounded to the earth. The feet are about hips distance apart or so. And just feeling how this feels in your body. Feel how the head feels. Do you feel like your head is leaning forward? Could you maybe pull the ears a little back over the shoulders and let the shoulders rest even lower away from your ears? Taking a full breath here, in and out. We'll start to take the hands up to the shoulders and find some shoulder circles. letting the shoulders, the elbows circle a couple times one way and then change direction to go the other way. It might feel good to do one side at a time so that you can start to feel the difference between one side or the other. Or maybe you have one shoulder that tends to feel a little bit more challenged at times or more resistant. You might take that side and find a different amount of movement. Some people also like to take the full arm to sweep around. This can be healthy and might feel good as you come through the series. But it's always nice to start with the hand at the shoulder first and see how that feels in the body. Once you've taken both sides somewhat equally in the amount of time, or both sides together, we'll let the hands rest down again, releasing away from the shoulders, and take the hands to interlace at the heart space. Let the elbows be down. We'll just start to roll out the wrists now. Since we'll be working with maybe weights, we want the wrists to be prepared too. So starting to roll the wrist a couple times one way and then the other way. You might even hold underneath one of your wrists and just circle that wrist a couple directions each time, and then the other. The fingers could be open or in a fist. That's up to you. Lowering the hands back down. We'll warm up the ankles now. Start to lift one foot off of the floor. You could hold underneath the leg or you could hold the sides of the chair. Finding a couple circles of the ankle. It doesn't matter what side you started on. Circle a couple times one direction and then switch to go the other way. Lowering the foot down, come to the other side to lift and circle. Switching directions to go the other way. And then lowering the ankles back down, we'll take the hands to the legs. Start to pull the hands back to the upper legs. Lift the gaze, lift the heart. Find a cat-cow here. So we're extending the throat, the heart, the gaze up. And then exhale, reach the hands towards the knees. Pull the navel in towards the spine and round here. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Find the breath pattern that feels good in your body and the distance. It might be a very small cat-cow to begin. You might really just make it through the center of the body. Or it might be a little larger, reaching further with the hands, rounding more through the spine. This may not be comfortable for your back, so if it does not feel good or is not recommended to round your spine or to create small back bends, then you could skip that part of the video today. We're going to add on a twist. So again, if twisting is not something that works for your body right now, you could omit this part or just watch. We'll twist to the right to begin, so letting the hands come down by your sides. We'll inhale to reach the arms up and out, twist over towards the right. You could twist with the hands at the shoulders or the arms up overhead. As you twist to the right, feel the right ribs drawing you towards the right, keeping the sitting bones grounded. We don't want to lift up off the chair or lean forward, so just let it be a gentle twist to start. Couple deep breaths, let the neck go with the rest of the spine, so your gaze is coming towards the right side too, allowing the neck to be stable and moving with the body. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears so the spine is nice and long. There's no crunching of the shoulders up to the ears. We're finding softness, stability, strength, and stretch through each movement. With the next breath, start to unwind, come back to the center, maybe the arms lifted up as you did that. On the next one, we'll inhale, twist to the left. The hands might come to the shoulders as you twist the torso to the left. Allow the breath to help you move through the twist. You might be holding the back of the seat or the side of the seat, depending on what type of chair you've used today. Taking a deep inhale, let the exhale draw the ribs, the torso just a little deeper to the left. And with the next breath, start to unwind, come back through center. Maybe the hands come back up to the shoulders or up overhead, and then lower the hands back down to heart center. Lower the gaze. Pause here. Lifting the head back up, lower the hands back down. If you'd like to use the weights today, you could go ahead and reach for the weights. We're just going to do 2 strength movements Again, this you could do standing or seated. It's to work the back muscles. The back of our lats mostly is what we'll be engaging and strengthening. It's definitely beneficial without weights too, so it's not necessary to have weights, especially if it's your first time taking some of these movements. It might feel nice to feel this within your body before adding the weights. Start to pull the elbows in closer towards the body, lower the shoulders down, bring the hands out to the sides. You could hold the weights or just imagine like you have that sort of hold of the hands with weights here. And then from here, we're going to pull the hands a little bit further out so the backs of the shoulder blades are squeezing together. So we're going to pull back and then bring the arms in. Pull the elbows back. The elbows are close in. The hands are pulling back towards, as if they were going towards the back, reaching towards your chair. Keep the spine lifted. Try to resist the urge to hinge or fold forward. Come back in. We'll take a few more. Inhale to reach out. Exhale, bring it in. Reach the arms out and hug them back in. It's a very small movement, slow and controlled. The slower we go through these motions, the more we can really feel the body and the muscles activate. It's not necessary to go fast, and we don't want momentum to take over and take away from the goal of the experience. Start to lower the hands down. Maybe you take a little roll of the shoulders or a little sweep of the torso here. Maybe letting the ribs come forward, back and around for a couple torso circles. Noticing how the back is feeling, the side body, maybe even parts of your arms. And then we're going to take a very similar motion, but in a different direction. So starting in the same place with the elbows close into the body, the hands out to the sides. We're going to inhale here. Exhale, hug the arms in. As you squeeze back, this is the movement. So we're coming in, inhale. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, bring the hands closer to where they're over the legs. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Try to take about 4 or 5 more of these. If you only do 2 or 3 the first time, that's great. If you're not using the weights, that's great too. It's still building up strength and stability throughout the entire back, bringing awareness to the posture. Continue here for maybe 1 or 2 more rounds. Keep your elbows in nice and close to the body. And then start to lower the weights. You can take them all the way down. If you're standing, you might feel like you want to hold the weights for the next one. You could just hold the weights down by your side. We're going to come to calf lifts. So if you're seated, the hands might rest on top of the legs, or you might even hold on to the side of your chair. We're just going to start to lift the heels up off of the mat or the floor, and then slowly lower them back down. So again, this could be done standing or seated. We're going to come up towards the balls of the feet and then real slowly lower the heels back down. Getting a nice stretch through the bottom of the feet and also working to strengthen around the calf muscles right behind your shins. So once you've started to feel the motion in your body, you may even be taking 1 foot at a time, especially if you have anything happening on one side of the body, one ankle, calf, or foot. You could do one at a time or both together, and maybe you want to speed it up a little bit. If you want to speed up this pace, feel free. Just try not to let momentum take over and lose the point and the rhythm of the movement. Take about 3-4 more rounds, whatever is feeling good for you. And then we'll pause, let the feet rest back on the mat or the earth. Pausing here to feel how the feet feel, the ankles, the legs, the lower legs. And the next movement we're going to take is simply extending one leg out. So this is going to work to strengthen around the knee, the upper quad, maybe even the hip a little bit. This can also be done standing. So if you're standing up, you could hold on to the side of the chair or the back of the chair with one hand for stability. And we're going to extend one leg straight. That's the whole exercise. If you're seated, you can bring the hands to the hips or bring the hands to the heart. We're working to balance by just extending one leg out. Trust where the leg is. It might be as high as the hip, maybe lower. Notice how the knee is feeling. the hip, the quad. Continue to breathe here. Seems so simple, yet so many things are happening in the body just to hold the leg straight out. Another 2 or 3 breaths wherever the hands are, wherever the leg is. If you need to tap it down and then re-lift it, that's fine at any point too. We'll work up the strength to keep the leg lifted. Now slowly lower back down, let both knees sway side to side, and then come to the other leg, extending the opposite leg straight out. The hands might still be at the heart, or maybe this time they're holding down at the sides of the chair. You might have a little bit of a point or a flex to the foot. You can let the foot be somewhat relaxed. You'll notice sensation changing depending on how flexed the toes are, whether they're pointing up towards the ceiling or pointing straight ahead. It may change sensation around the knee, the quad, the hip. Starting to acknowledge if one side feels or looks different. Accepting these differences and working to find balance wherever we can in our lives, in our bodies, in our breath. Take your time to slowly lower the opposite leg down, the leg that's lifted. Let the knees sway a bit side to side. We'll take one more strength movement, one more stretch, and then we come to our final resting place for this class. If you'd like to use the weights again, you can lift for the weights. If it's your first time with this movement, you might leave them out today. Having the weights is going to build a bit more strength in the shoulders. So if your shoulders are going through any rehabbing right now, it might be best to do this without the weights. And we're going to add on the option of lifting the knee, which will bring in more core and hip strength too, and stability. So totally optional. You could stay with just the arms. So we're going to start with the arms first. Feel free to stay with the arms and leave out the legs, or leave the arms down if that's not accessible today, and just lift the knees. So I'll go through each, the arms and the legs, and the combination of both together. Once we combine them both together, it also becomes a bit of a brain exercise, working the left and the right hemispheres to work both sides of the body. So we'll get started bringing the weights to right about shoulder height. Starting here, keep the back lifted, the neck long. Start to press one arm up and then pull it back down. Lift the other arm, pull it back down. Trust where the arm is. You don't have to watch the weight or watch the hand. You can keep your gaze straight ahead. So we're pressing up at about a 45-degree angle. Notice how this is feeling in your shoulders. If you feel like this has been enough, you can lower the arms or lower the weights. If you'd like to start to add in the legs, we're going to take the left arm up, lift the right foot and knee any amount, pull them back down. Lift the opposite arm, opposite knee, pull them back down. Start to make this flow a little bit more. One knee lifts, the opposite hand lifts. They both come back to the neutral place. Keep the core nice and strong here. We're not clenching, we're staying supple and soft, yet building up lots of strength. I'm going to take a couple more on each side, each direction. If one is becoming more challenging than the other, stay with it, keep breathing. If there's any pain or discomfort, stop, take a break, figure out where it might be happening, and then leave out that part. There shouldn't be any pain in any of this. Continuing here, find your breath. Notice if you've started to hold your breath or stop breathing fully, maybe tightening around the jaw or the chest. Take a couple deeper breaths here. If you ended up on one side with the same knee and the same arm lifted, that's okay. That's part of the brain working to follow. And just get yourself back into the alternating. Take one more on each side just to even things out. And then lower the weights or the hands, depending on what you had lifted. Maybe shake out the arms a little bit. You might lean forward and let the arms sway side to side or forward and back. Letting go of any strength that happened in the arms. And then our final stretch will come to a butterfly. So depending on how high your chair is, you might use 1 or 2 blocks or something similar. Maybe you have a bolster or a blanket that you have rolled up, something to place under the feet. If you're seated or if you took part of this class standing, you could also do this on the floor. So bringing the soles of the feet together, the hands might rest at the top of the legs, not to force the legs to be further or to force the knees down, but just as support, guidance, an acknowledgement that you're here to help and support yourself through this journey of strength and stability. If this feels like enough, stay here with the spine, the head nice and tall. If you want to change the movement a little bit, you could hold on to the sides of the chair and maybe start to hinge just slightly forward, finding a flat back. Notice how this feels in the body. Pause at any point, but especially if you feel like you're starting to lift out of the chair, make sure your seat is nice and grounded and you're not going to start to roll forward out of the chair. Taking another breath or 2 here in any position, whether you're forward facing or upright. Start to guide the knees back in together. You can windshield wiper the knees again side to side or circle out the hips a little bit. Either keeping the blocks in front of you for the feet to rest on or letting the feet rest in front. We find our final resting position known as Shavasana or corpse pose. Depending on what type of chair you have, if you have a supportive back, you might lean back and start to just let the body rest without trying to hold the spine up in a proper mountain pose position. Let the shoulders relax, the tongue relax, the mouth, the eyes. Feel the forehead soften, the gaze soften, or the eyes close. If you have an eye mask, you might choose to place that over your eyes. If you'd like to take your hands to the tops of your legs, the sides of the body, or even to rest over the heart and the abdomen. Taking this time to allow all the benefits of the practice to sink in here, to harmonize your breath, your movement, your balance. You might take time here to repeat the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice, or maybe even set a new one. And allow this time to send gratitude and love to each part of your body from the top of the head down to the tips of the toes. Scanning the body with immense gratitude, appreciation, and love. Staying here for as long as you would like. You can pause the video and just remain here for as long as it feels comfortable for you, or when you feel ready, you can start to wiggle the fingers and toes, ankles and wrist. Start to come back up to any seat in the position or place that you're in. And with so much love and gratitude, I thank you for taking this journey today with me. Have a wonderful day.